Today's brutal women's match encounter was held between former two-time Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion, the Undead Bride Su Yung, who will be taking on a regular Pro Wrestling Eve locker room mate, Dublin, Ireland's own Session Moth Martina, who will also be in her alter ego of the Session Goth. This match took place at Eve's Wrestle Queendom, held at York Hall in London, England on June 30th, 2019. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that this matchup is an undeath match. Viewer discretion is advised. Su Yung would take on Martina on an earlier episode of Eve, and in that match, Su would take down Martina with the panic switch and then tied her hands together. She would then lead Martina out to some trees and then somehow transformed into a Session Goth. That's what I got from this promo package, by the way. Su Yung makes her way to the ring with a bundle of Singapore canes tied together, and before it ends, she also takes off her bride's veil and gives it a big ol' sniff on the apron. We flash forward and Session Goth is in the ring for her introduction. I guess Martina just doesn't get to show Darude Sandstorm on this night. The bell rings and Su Yung is ready to swing on Martina, who rolls to the outside and then reaches under the ring, where she pulls out a kendo stick with a bunch of beer cans duct taped to it. Pretty unique. Su Yung takes some swings, but Session Goth is able to counter both and then gives Su a whack in the back with a beer stick. Martina looks for a suicide dive to the floor, but Su Yung smacks Session Goth in the face with a serving tray. Su Yung gives it a lick because why not? Su Yung gets Session Goth outside and then continues to nail Martina in the face with the tray. We then see that Martina got busted open off of those attacks, who then smacks her in the face even harder with another tray. Martina moves the barricade out of the way because she hates safety, and then she hits a suplex on Su Yung into the crowd chairs. Session Goth reaches under the stairs and then she finds a staple gun.
Why is there a staple gun?
Session Goth rips Su's bride shirt off and then mounts on her back, where she then staples a shot into Young's back. Young starts screaming like your mom with me yesterday, and then Goth gives her another trigger to the back. And then how about another? Goth gives Young a no-sold chop and then tries to Irish whip her, but then Young counters and then tosses Su into the barricade. Su and Martina start fighting up towards the stage, where then Su overpowers Martina and starts pulling her by her hair up onto the entranceway. Su somehow finds another staple gun and then uses Martina's head as yesterday's documents and then starts choking Session Goth off the stage. Su attempts a pile driver, but Goth starts firing away with the forearms and then they both start to exchange right hands. They both go face to face and then both walk out backstage. They come back with chairs and brewskis in their hands. Session Goth wants Su Yung to take a seat, which Su eventually does. And then they crack open the cold ones for the boys. They start cracking each other in the face for an impromptu bar fight. Martina then spits the beer mist into the face of Su Yung and then gives her a knee out of the chair. Both wrestlers pick up their respective chairs and give it a whack, where then they both go down for a double down. All of a sudden, a big ass dude in a baby costume comes out with a jar in his hand, and then he dumps out a jar of teeth. Anyway, apparently that's all of Martina's children's teeth, because Session Goth gets around, I guess. This is just my assumption. I'm just raw dogging this video, just like Martina. Anyway, the baby nurses Martina back to life and then spits some more beer into Young's face and then plants Young with a DDT onto the teeth on the stage. Martina signals for the finish and then starts dragging Su back to the ring. Martina reaches under the ring and pulls out a ladder, which apparently is a actual ladder. And that actual ladder gets kicked into the face of the Session Goth. Su Yung begins to fill up the ring with all the weapons that they've pulled out already, and then takes a nibble out of Session Goth's head, and then spits the blood into the air. Su Yung throws a door into the ring, and then picks up the serving tray from before and whacks Martina in the back with it. Su Yung reaches into somewhere, and then she pulls out her version of Mr. Sacco with her bride sleeve? I don't know what it's called. I'm not married. Su looks for a German suplex into the ladder propped up on the corner, but Goth counters into the other corner, where Young does some dope-ass offense.
You can see she's dizzy, she's slightly out of it there. She's losing blood.
Su Yung puts Session Goth into the Tree of Woe position and then begins to fire away with the kicks. Young then picks up the ladder and then drives it into the knees of Martina, who she then covers for a 2 count. Su attempts the German again, but then Martina fires back with some elbows and then gives Young a German suplex of her own, but this time into the ladder. Session Goth sets up the ladder and then climbs to the top, which sounds impressive, but the ladder barely passes the ring ropes, so Martina takes a dive and the announcer says it's a double axe handle, but I think it was a botched diving codebreaker. You be the judge. Either way, both women are down in the ring. Su Yung starts smiling and sits up, and then Martina starts freaking out about something off screen. We then see what's causing the panic attack when we see some undead bridesmaids start making their way around the ring and surround Martina. Martina starts dispatching of the goons just like they were NPCs in a video game, and then Su gives Martina a kick. Su Yung sets the door up in the corner. She then powers up Martina on her shoulders and gives her a Death Valley driver through the door. Su pulls Martina into the middle of the ring and covers her, but Martina gets the shoulder up it too. Su Yung sees her bridesmaids on the outside who have set up a door bridge. Su Yung gets sent into the apron from Martina, where Martina spits some red mist into Su's face and then she falls onto the door. Martina climbs to the top rope and delivers a senton onto Young through the bridesmaids and through the door. The broadcast starts messing up, but then the Session Goth has a dog shit bag, but not full of dog shit, but thumbtacks, which she then sprinkles all over the ring. Session Goth with a fucking sunsetter into the thumbtacks on Su Yung. Never did I think I'd see a sunsetter on tacks, but holy shit. The bridesmaids unfortunately break up the pin and they start mollywopping Martina. The bridesmaids start tossing a bunch of chairs into the ring for their bride, and I don't know why, but one of the chairs is very neon green. Oh. Su Yung sets up 6 chairs for the chair bridge, and then she looks to superplex Martina through. And Martina is able to fight back with a headbutt, but Su throws the mandible claw into Martina, and then pulls her in for a superplex. Holy shit, that hurt. And then no hesitation as Su Yung powers Martina up for the panic switch and then picks up the win. God, I thought Martina just destroyed her noggin with that one. You can see how hard she hit her head on that chair. After the match, Su Yung offers a hand to Martina, but she pulls it away, denying Session Goth the respect she deserved in this match. Got a pretty random death match, or know any of Session Moth Martina's cheaper by the dozen ass kids? Let me know in the comments down below.